Thanks, Jenilee, and everybody, welcome back to Big Balls Fantasy Football. We're going into beast mode. I'm going to give you 3 beastly picks that are just going to tear that turkey out of that chicken, the whole turducken thing, just going to tear that whole thing up. These picks are so damn good, I guarantee it. My first one is wide receiver Josh Gordon of the Cleveland Browns. Now, we've been through a lot of quarterbacks on this team. We've been through, of course, Hoyer, who I loved. Bye, Hoyer. I'm sorry you got injured. Then we had Whedon. Then we had Jason Campbell, who came over from the Bears, who somehow is playing really good in their system, but, of course, got injured just like he did in our system. So it's back to Whedon again. But Josh Gordon, no matter which quarterback is in there, has been getting you points. And this week, he is playing the Jacksonville D, and we know that's a treat for any running back or any receiver. They are just horrible. He got 14 catches, 237 yards, and a touchdown in Week 12's loss against the Steelers. And just like I said, week after week, no matter which quarterback, he's been a stud. I have him in 2 of my leagues, and he has just been getting me double-digit points every single week. Week 11 went 5 for 125 yards and a touchdown versus Cincinnati. Week 8 went 5 receptions, 132 yards, 1 touchdown versus KC. Listen to those PPR yards just crank up. Got to get Josh in your lineup this week. My second beast for you this week is a guy that you probably had out of your lineup for 2 or 3 weeks because you gave up hope like I did, and now I have him back in my lineup, especially after his performance this week in Arizona's total and complete annihilation of the Colts. That's right, Larry Fitzgerald, wide receiver of the Cardinals. He has truly found himself against some really inferior defenses, and I'll tell you about those stats in a moment. But I was just completely impressed by the game that he had. Caught 5 passes for 52 yards, 2 touchdowns. He has had 4 touchdowns in the last 4 games, 2 in the last game, 1 in a few of the other games. And it's just been so great to finally get points out of the Fitz. Thank you, Fitz, for catching the ball. And thank you, Carson Palmer, for finally, you've now gotten an offensive line, as Jenilee has already said. And she gave you the other receiver that Carson's been keying in on. The offense has just been clicking on all cylinders. Week 10, Fitz went 6 for 61, 1 touchdown against, of course, Jacksonville, for crying out loud. Week 8, went 4 receptions, 48 yards, 1 touchdown against Atlanta's defense. Yeah, for crying out loud. And people have said that out there. I like saying crying out loud. I think I have a tagline in that. So this week, Week 13, he's going against a very porous Eagles pass D, and I think he's going to get at least another touchdown, a ton more PPR points. Just to note, last game he was targeted a game-high 11 times and became the 29th player. Way to go, Fitz, the 29th player in league history to reach the 11,000 yards mark. It's just one shy of 30 people. It's a very elite club. Way to go, Fitz. You're going to ball this week again. My third beast this week is Kendall Wright, wide receiver of the Titans. I think Jenilee and I must have been doing a mind meld when we were coming up with our picks. We don't come up with them together, but we must have been both thinking Cardinals, Titans, because she went with Fitzpatrick, and I had to go with Kendall because, I mean, he's just been throwing to him a lot lately, and he's been getting a lot of points. Last week, though, was pretty damn special. Caught 6 passes for 103 yards and a touchdown in their win against Oakland. It was spectacular. I mean, that's some damn good PPR right there. You know, Fitzpatrick's been going to him in very rough situations, and he's been bailing him out a lot. So I think he's going to keep relying on him. So put Fitz in. Put Kendall in. Week 11, Kendall Wright went 9 receptions, 80 yards versus Indiana. And they're going to play them again, as Jenilee already said, this week. You know, not a great defense. Kendall is going to be the damn man. So next, we are going to have Cash. It's Thanksgiving. We like to bring back some of our favorite guests, and Cash is always great. He gives you his gambles of the week on our podcast on blogtalkradio.com/GRR. And he's going to be here on video, live from Skype, from Texas, giving you visually some of the picks this week, and also not just gambles, but he's got Bear in his heart. He's going to give you his take on the Bears, and he's also going to give you some of the things he's been thankful for this fantasy season. So stay tuned. Watch for cash.